what's good? We about to get into ESP Analyst disrespecting Larry Bird. If they saying too much clown stuff, I'm getting on them because I don't like all that. Well, you clowning Larry Bird, and he had an all around game, and they half the time they don't even know what they talking about. That'd be the lame part. They'd be unknown talking about topics. They couldn't never even touch a net.
Larry Bird is highly regarded as one of the 10 best players in NBA history. He was highly skilled, a great scorer, as well as a great passer. And when it came to his Celtics teams, he was highly valuable to their overall success. Now, with that being said, Larry Bird, like most older legends, is losing respect as time goes on. And when it comes to ESPN, I was absolutely floored to see a former NBA player insulting Larry Bird and saying point blank he is not one of the greatest shooters in NBA history.
And I think the NBA has gotten way past the balance and watching guys give up dunks to shoot threes on fast breaks. That kind of thing. I think that has hurt the game a lot. Now, that's me. I am old school, as we all know. JJ, perfect. But, Bird shot plenty of threes. And they had Parrish and McHale. Bird shot plenty of threes. The best. Yeah, and Bird is one of the great shooters in the history of the sport. Not even close.
Bird shot threes. He never was a volume shooter from three.
No, I know that, but he was a great three-point shooter. He was not good.
Man, JJ Redick, a clown. Imagine having Dick in your name. Imagine. Like, you have Dick in your name, dude. Stop being a dickhead. And you have, you know what I mean? Like, come on, man. Like, a volume shooter. Like, what the fuck? You was never even on Larry Bird level. What the fuck are you talking about? You was never even on that man level. You were just a catch and shoot on a fucking screen. That's all you could do, JJ. That's all you could do. You couldn't even create your own fucking shot. Man, this should be white.
He was great.
So, stopping that clip right there, Redick, at the very end, had the facial expression of someone who was annoyed and disgusted by Larry Legend being called one of the best shooters of all time.
Exactly.
And for someone like Redick, it might be hard to understand that players in the past were also great players. But for him, he is so preoccupied with boosting up today's players, he downplays and disrespects past eras, like Bird, Cousy, as well as Jerry West. Now, getting on to the actual argument, Larry Bird, in his era, there was a three-point line that was introduced his first year. But for middle school, high school, even college, he had no three-point line. That is some very important context a lot of fans either don't know or try to ignore. And one more thing I do want to add.
It'd be a lot of these people that don't know nothing about basketball and trying to give their own opinion. Like, how the fuck are you going to talk about basketball? You never even played basketball or you don't even have the resume to even talk about basketball. Like, how the fuck are you going to talk about something and then you make up your own narratives? Like, man, get the fuck out of here with that. Now, Larry Bird was him. You could even tell, yeah, JJ Redick looked disgusted and all type of, man, he was ass and JJ Redick was ass. Come on, man, you can't even speak. You was never even on Larry Bird level. That's how ass you was, JJ Redick. Like, come on, JJ Redick garbage. You just had to get off screens and shit. You couldn't even create your own jump shot. You know what I mean? Come on, man. You not even that fucking good thinking you talking about something, man. Everybody calling you out for your bullshit. Man, stop the bullshit. Cap ass boy.
When Bird came into the NBA, he was actually a power forward who played primarily on the block. And despite that, in his first year in the NBA, he shot 40.6% from behind the arc. In terms of percentage, he ranked third in the NBA. He was fifth in total threes and sixth in threes attempted. As a rookie off the bat, Larry Bird was the best three-point shooter in 1980. And what makes it even more impressive, out of the qualifiers for three-point shooting, he was the only power forward to make the list, once again proving how much of a unicorn he really was.
He's one of the top 5 3-point shooters of all time. That's how good Bird is. Oh, yes.
We're not.
Won 3-point shooting contests. He was phenomenal. Bird's
wait a minute.
Great shooter.
Wait a minute,
and Bird didn't shoot.
Bird is
50 feet.
absolutely one of the
Doggy.
greatest shooters ever, but he's not one of the top 5 3-point,
yes,
top
he is.
3, whatever
Did you
just said.
see the 3-point shooting that he put on, those clinics that he put on at the All-Star game?
Again,
Did you watch?
Doggy, it's just math. It's attempts, it's makes, and it's percentage. And there's no way you could ever argue Larry Bird is a top 3 3-point shooter of all time. You can't make that argument.
You're basing it on math. You're basing it on math and a time of when he played. I'm basing it on just shooting.
Now, looking at JJ in this clip, he once again provides no context, saying, quote, "It's about makes, attempt."
I mean, he really don't provide no context because he obviously don't even know what the fuck is he talking about. Even Dominique Wilkins even said the shit he be saying is fucking. He sound fucking slow. Like, how the fuck are you gonna say he's not a great shooter and then all this other shit? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? You wasn't even never on that man level. You was never even the best player on your fucking team. Like, pipe down. Like, you was never on that man level. Like, pipe the fuck down. Larry Bird was schoolio soft ass, quick as hell. The fuck are you talking about? You don't even got no basketball knowledge. What the fuck? With your lame ass podcast, boy, get the fuck. Go sit your clown ass down. Go get you some Dunkin' Donuts for your dad. You really my son, Redick, JJ. You really my son. Go give me some Krispy Kreme donuts and pipe down because you really ain't saying shit right now.
And percentage. Looking at the raw numbers with no context, no data, and no additional information. That argument right there, going on stats alone, is highly disingenuous.
Exactly.
For example, look at the mid and early 2000s. Back in that era, averaging 30 points was extremely difficult for people like Kobe, Allen Iverson, and even T-Mac. Being knowledgeable NBA fans, we know that era had a much slower pace, the paint was more crowded, and scoring was definitely more difficult. When looking at the raw stats with no context, players in today's league averaging 30 were more efficient compared to Kobe as well as Iverson. And like Redick said, it's makes, attempts, and percentage. Someone like SGA, off the pure raw stats, was a better scorer than peak.
Okay, let's say we going off of that, right? Let's say you doing all this shit good as hell in the regular season and all that, but when the playoffs hit, you can't even make a damn jump shot. So why would that fucking even matter anyway? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of players that look good as shit in the regular season shooting the ball. JJ most definitely looked like that. And then when the playoffs come, you're not even ready for the moment. The playoffs is a whole nother game. The lights get brighter. There's a lot of players that couldn't live up to it. And Larry Bird lived up to every fucking thing. Like, you know what I mean? Larry Bird won 3 championships for a fucking reason. How many rings do you got, JJ? You haven't got shit in. You're not even a fucking winner.
Has JJ?
Oh, shit. No. Oh, shit.
Someone like SGA.
My bad, y'all. I had to get back in the video. Damn, I'm tripping, gang.
Off the pure raw stats, was a better scorer than peak Iverson. And someone like Tatum technically was more impressive than the early 2000s Kobe. My overall point being, stats like usual require context. The same thing goes to Larry Bird and his shooting percentage. And speaking of that percentage, looking at Bird, after 1984, when he stopped playing power forward, his overall shooting splits were highly impressive, shooting 50% from the field, 39.8% from 3, and 90% from the line. During that time period, 5 different times he shot above 40% from 3, and his highest season was at 42.7%. And going year by year, in 85, he was fourth in three-point makes. 86, he was first. 87, also first. And 88, he was fourth. For peak Larry Bird, from 85 to 88, he was first in threes made, first in threes attempted, and fourth in three-point percentage. For his overall era, in terms of volume and percentage, he was the Steph Curry of the late 1980s.
Bird is an unbelievable.
Again, we had this discussion the other day. We had this discussion the other day about James Naismith. James Naismith invented the game. You were rewarded for putting the ball in the basket. There's plenty of people that have shot more, made more, and guess what? Made more at a higher percentage than Larry Bird from three. I'm not saying Larry Bird is not one of the greatest shooters ever. He's not one of the greatest three-point shooters ever.
Man, you sound fucking slow and you sound bitter as shit. Like, what the fuck is your talk? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you sound like a fucking idiot. Never won shit. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. You bouncing around the fucking league, barely. You know what I mean? Like, come on, what the fuck are you talking? Like, you give idiots like this a platform, and they know what they're talking about. Get the fuck out of here. Larry Bird would dominate your ass. You know what I mean? You couldn't even fuck with Larry Bird. The fuck are you talking about? Dumbass boy.
You cannot make that argument.
Yes, I'm sorry. Because the 80s was so much different. There's physicality, the way they guarded people. You couldn't... Can we get
Doug, I've been trying to make a point. Seriously,
I've been trying to make a point for you, Doug.
So, once again, Redick has zero historical context and wants to make basketball black and white and about percentage and stats. And looking at Larry Bird, like I said before, he was one of the pioneers for the high-volume three-point shooters from day one in the NBA. And for a big man, he was especially unique in his time because most forwards didn't dare step out to shoot threes. And Bird's overall influence, much like Steph Curry, had a big effect on the game going forward for guys like Dirk Nowitzki, Kevin Durant, and even Jason Tatum. And one thing I do want to nail home, in 1980, three-point shooting was a gimmick and a joke for most coaches. But for Larry Bird, in a 5-year period, he legitimized it, was shooting upwards of 40%, really not knowing what he was doing for his time. And like I said before, peak Larry Bird was an elite and all-time great three-point shooter. As from 85 to 88, he shot 41.4% from behind the arc, when the league average was 29.5%. Once again, showing Bird was light years ahead of the curve and is a unicorn for his time period, given his size, volume, as well as percentage. And one more thing I do want to reiterate is stats with zero context. As any average Joe off the street can look at a box score, look at a percentage, and read it and tell if it's good or bad. But a real smart NBA fan, what they do, they look at the context, the peak, and the overall era.
Yeah, JJ Redick don't be having a fucking clue what he be talking about. That's why I don't like, you know what I mean? Like, Larry Bird was a unicorn. He was rare. And he would dominate in today's era. He would most definitely drop fucking 40 on your fucking head. I feel like he would drop 50 on JJ. And Larry Bird in his prime? The fuck? You know what I mean? Like, JJ Redick would never even be a Larry. Like, he's not even on his fucking level. Like, what the fuck are we really talking about? Like, JJ, you sound dumb as hell. Like, you sound bitter. You sound like, you know what I mean? You sound like you can't even wipe your own ass at times. Like, you sound whack as shit right now. You know what I mean? You sound lame as fuck.
At raw stats, as a simpleton, someone like Kobe and his career stats aren't as impressive as Damian Lillard when it comes to scoring. As Dame compared to Kobe, averages more points, a higher true shooting percentage, higher three percentage, and higher free throw percentage. Would anyone in their right mind say Dame Lillard was a better overall scorer than Kobe?
Hell no.
Because looking at the numbers, remember, makes, attempts, and percentage, Dame Lillard, in fact, was a better scorer. And once again, looking at Bird, at his absolute peak in the playoffs, he was phenomenal. As in 86, he averaged 25.9 points, 9.3 boards, 8.2 assists on 52, 41, and 93 splits. For NBA history, Larry Bird was the first player ever to have a high-volume 50, 40, 90 postseason run. And since Bird, only KD and Kawhi have joined him on that list.
Let's say Steph Curry, for example.
Right.
When I watch Steph Curry off the ball in a playoff game,
Oh, he's great.
getting grabbed and held by Marcus Smart, they're attached to him at all times.
Right.
Then when I watch Larry Bird come off a pin down and no one's within 5 feet of him and they're shooting the gap, you're telling me one is more physical than the other? You're telling me that's more physical than Steph Curry being grabbed and held for 48 minutes?
Now, stopping Redick right there, when talking about any era of basketball, there are always good defensive teams and bad defensive teams. But for Redick, when it comes to Bird's era, he only focuses in on the bad defense. Compared to Steph's era, where he totally ignores the bad defense and the awful teams like Houston, Charlotte, and San Antonio. And as a basketball fan on YouTube, it takes about 5 minutes to find Larry Bird playing against very physical defense who grabs him, holds him, double teams him, and does all types of things to limit his shots and his shooting space. And when speaking of the 80s, when it came to Pistons, they had Dennis Rodman, Joe Dumars. The Lakers had Cooper and Worthy. Philadelphia had Bobby Jones and Caldwell Jones. Players like Allen Robinson, Larry Nance, Sidney Moncrief, Buck Williams. We had great defenders on all-time great defensive teams. And just like Redick, I could cherry-pick bad plays here, bad plays there from any era. At the end of the day, it makes no sense doing that. You have to watch the film, understand the era, and provide context to what you're watching. Yes, back in the day, they played very close and compact to the basket. That's because back then, they didn't know the value of three-point shooting. But someone like Bird was a pioneer and an innovator of three-point shots for big men.
He was for sure a pioneer. You know what I mean? He was a pioneer. Like, he was like that first, like, goddamn stretch. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't even know he played power forward. But shit, if that's true, he played power forward. I thought he was like a small forward, but still, like, he was like a stretch big either way. And JJ Redick would never be on this man level. Just us even having this debate, it's not even a fucking debate because JJ Redick don't even know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? This and that. And you sound like one of them motherfuckers that go get the donuts for me. You know what I mean? You sound like a fucking lame, a goofy.
And just players in general. And one last thing I do want to throw in there, looking at Larry Bird, Mad Dog Russo brought up the NBA Finals. For Bird in the Finals, for his career, in 5 trips collectively, he shot 42.2% from behind the arc. And when it came to clutch time play, in the final 5 minutes, shot a staggering 42.8%. If you look at three-point shooting for Larry Bird, at the biggest times when the stakes were highest, he elevated his game and rose to the occasion. And like Pat Riley said, Larry Legend is the guy you want taking the shot when the clock's winding down. So that right there is my last overall point. And when it comes to Bird,
you for sure want Larry Bird to take every clutch shot because he worked on his game. He was that guy for real. JJ Redick, on the other hand, he would never get the last shot of the fucking game. It sounds like JJ just really jealous of Larry Bird. That's what it sounds like to me. Because JJ, but come on, you sound dumb as hell. Like, you wasn't even the best player in your own fucking era, goofy. You know what I mean? What the fuck are we talking about? If Larry Bird was playing this era, he would get 100-something M's. Your dumb ass would get a fucking 3 million, 1 million fucking contract out the fucking league. The fuck are we talking about? Like, that's what I'm saying. This type of shit, bro. Come on, this is clown shit to me when it comes to JJ saying some of this shit.
Bird, I personally think he's a top 10 shooter of all time.
Exactly.
If you want to say top 5, I definitely wouldn't push back too heavily, given his era and how good he was for his time period. And for Redick, as you guys know, I am not a big fan of him or his takes regarding past legends. As always, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.
Yeah, it's just JJ's a fucking clown. But yeah, JJ just lame, bro. Like he don't even know what he talking about. He sound like he bitter. Like get the cookie crumbs out your mouth, my guy. Go get your life straightened up because you just talking about Larry Bird is not cut out for you, and you're really not like that, JJ. Like you wasn't even that dude in your own fucking era. Garbage ass, never won a fucking ring. Get the fuck out of here, lame ass motherfucker. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Larry Bird, in my opinion, is like a top 5 shooter all time, in my opinion. Like, I don't give a fuck about what nobody say. Like, that man was a top 5 shooter all time and clutch. Like, go get you a bad Redick because you ain't on shit. And I'm out.